Plan your day with intention. It's 7:30 a.m. Ethan, a 34-year-old software consultant, pours himself coffee. But unlike most people, he doesn't check emails or scroll through news headlines. Instead, he sits down with a notebook. Why? Because he's learned that the way you start your day determines how the rest of it unfolds. Without a plan, the brain works in reactive mode. You bounce from one thing to another, responding to pings, calls, and requests. At day's end, you feel busy, maybe even exhausted, but haven't made progress on what matters most. Ethan spends just 10 minutes designing his day. He writes down no more than 3 major priorities, tasks that truly move the needle. Then he time blocks them into his calendar. By assigning real time to these tasks, he treats them as non-negotiable appointments with himself. This isn't just productivity theory. Neuroscientists talk about decision fatigue, the mental exhaustion that builds when you're constantly deciding what to do next. By making those decisions early, Ethan frees his brain for deep work later. Studies from Harvard Business School show that people who plan their day perform 20 to 30% better than those who don't. It's not about writing a giant to-do list. It's about focus. A clear plan ensures that when you reach day's end, you've moved closer to long-term goals instead of just spinning your wheels. Eat the frog. Start with the most important task. By 8 a.m., Ethan is ready to begin. Most people check their inbox first, thinking it's harmless. But the inbox is full of other people's priorities. Responding to them early drains mental energy you could have spent on your highest value work. Instead, Ethan does something uncomfortable. He tackles the hardest, most important task on his list, the one that creates real progress. Productivity expert Brian Tracy calls this eating the frog. If you eat a frog first thing in the morning, the day can only get better. This idea has scientific backing. Your brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for problem solving and focus, is sharpest in the first few hours after waking. That's when you should do deep work requiring creativity and concentration. By mid-afternoon, decision fatigue and distractions pile up, making complex work much harder. Ethan uses this window to work on his toughest coding challenge. At first, it feels uncomfortable. He'd rather push it aside. But once he starts, momentum builds. When he finishes, he feels a rush of progress that carries through the day. The beauty of this habit is psychological. Once the frog is out of the way, everything else feels lighter. Even if meetings eat up the afternoon, he's already made his most important contribution before lunch. That's a massive shift in mindset, from reactive to proactive. Limit digital distractions. Now here's where most people sabotage themselves. Ethan's phone stays in another room. His notifications are silenced. Why? Because distractions are the silent killers of productivity. The average person checks their phone over 90 times a day. That's 90 broken focus cycles. Each time you get interrupted by a message, a ping, or a quick social media check, it can take up to 20 minutes to regain full concentration. Imagine losing hours of focus every single day without realizing it. Ethan avoids this trap by creating a distraction-free environment. He checks messages in batches, not constantly. He closes tabs that aren't related to his current task. He uses simple tools like website blockers when he needs to go deep. The result? His brain learns to stay in flow. Neuroscience explains why this works. Every notification delivers a tiny hit of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. It feels good, but it also conditions you to seek more stimulation. That's why you find yourself refreshing feeds without even thinking. Ethan trains his brain the opposite way, to find satisfaction in sustained focus, not in shallow digital hits. This discipline is what separates people who are busy from people who are effective. Protecting focus is like protecting your most valuable currency. Once it's spent on distractions, you can't get it back. Work in focused blocks. Instead of trying to push through hours of endless work, Ethan sets a timer for 90 minutes. He works on a single task with complete concentration. When the timer ends, he steps away for 10 to 15 minutes. This isn't random. It's based on ultradian rhythms, natural 90-minute cycles of peak brain performance, followed by a dip. During these cycles, the brain reaches maximum alertness, creativity, and focus. Elite performers, chess champions, musicians, Olympic athletes train in these intervals to push their abilities without burning out. Ethan uses the same principle. 90 minutes on, short break, then repeat. Instead of grinding for 6 hours straight and ending up exhausted, he achieves more in less time while feeling energized. Studies from Florida State University found that top performers rarely train more than 4 to 5 hours a day, but in highly focused blocks. It's quality, not quantity. Ethan applies this to his work, and by noon, he's already completed the kind of deep progress that used to take him all day. Take micro breaks and move. At 9:45 a.m., Ethan steps outside for a quick walk. Not long, maybe 10 minutes. He doesn't put on headphones or scroll through his phone. He just walks, breathes, and lets his mind wander. It might look unproductive, but science says otherwise. Movement increases blood flow to the brain, lowering stress hormones and boosting creativity. Walking specifically activates the default mode network, the brain's creative circuit, where connections form between ideas. That's why great thinkers like Beethoven and Darwin took daily walks to spark inspiration. Even a 2-minute stretch can reset energy and focus. Ethan treats breaks like fuel stops, not wasted time. Just as a car can't run forever without overheating, the brain can't stay sharp without pauses. By sprinkling micro breaks throughout the day, he avoids the slow mental decline that comes from sitting still too long. Stanford researchers found that walking boosts creative output by 60%. For Ethan, this isn't exercise for the body, it's exercise for the mind. Stay hydrated and fuel your body. By lunchtime, Ethan makes deliberate choices about what he eats and drinks. No heavy fast food or sugar-laden snacks. Instead, his plate holds salmon for omega-3s, blueberries for antioxidants, and almonds for sustained energy. He pairs it with water, not soda. The reason is simple. The brain is about 75% water. Even mild dehydration slows reaction time, lowers memory recall, and causes brain fog. Food choices matter too. Heavy meals overload the digestive system, stealing energy from the brain. Balanced meals stabilize blood sugar, keeping mood and focus steady. Ethan also uses caffeine strategically. A morning coffee sharpens focus, but he avoids it late in the day to protect his sleep. He knows that tomorrow's productivity starts with today's nutrition. But it's not just what he eats, it's how he eats. Ethan takes time to actually taste his food, to chew slowly, to be present during meals. This isn't just mindfulness, it's practical. Eating quickly while distracted leads to overeating and poor digestion. Keep your workspace organized. Before starting his afternoon work, Ethan tidies his desk. Papers are filed, his desktop cleared, distractions removed. This might seem small, but environment shapes behavior. Princeton researchers found that clutter competes for attention in the brain, raising stress and lowering performance. By contrast, a tidy space lowers cortisol levels and makes it easier to focus. Ethan doesn't aim for perfection. He just ensures that what's on his desk supports, not sabotages, his goals. Laptop, notebook, water bottle, everything else is put away. The ritual itself matters too. Clearing the space signals to his brain that it's time to reset and re-engage. It's like pressing a mental refresh button. This extends beyond his physical desk to his digital workspace, closing unnecessary browser tabs, organizing files, clearing his email inbox to zero. Practice single tasking. In the afternoon, Ethan commits to one project at a time. No multitasking, no juggling. Multitasking feels efficient, but neuroscience proves otherwise. What the brain actually does is task switching, rapidly jumping between activities. Each switch costs time and energy, draining focus and increasing mistakes. Studies show productivity can drop by up to 40% this way. By single tasking, Ethan preserves his mental resources. He picks one task, works on it until it's done or at a clear stopping point, and only then moves on. If another thought arises, he writes it down instead of acting on it immediately. This discipline feels strange at first, almost too simple, but the results are powerful. Work finishes faster, quality improves, and stress levels drop. The hardest part isn't the work itself. It's resisting the constant pull of other tasks. But Ethan has learned that these interruptions aren't urgent. They're just loud. Reflect at the end of the day. At 6 p.m., Ethan closes his laptop and picks up his journal. For 5 minutes, he reflects. What did I accomplish? What slowed me down? What should I prioritize tomorrow? This habit turns every day into a feedback loop. Instead of repeating mistakes, he learns from them. He notices patterns. He's most focused in the morning, most distracted when notifications are on, most sluggish after heavy meals. Reflection also gives closure. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. The brain holds on to unfinished tasks, creating mental tension. By writing tomorrow's top priority, Ethan closes those loops. His mind relaxes, making it easier to rest and sleep deeply. The reflection isn't just about productivity metrics. Ethan also considers his energy levels, his mood, his relationships. This broader perspective helps him optimize not just his work, but his entire life. Prioritize sleep and recovery. By 10:30 p.m., Ethan winds down. Lights are dim, phone is off, and a book rests in his hands. He aims for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Sleep isn't just rest, it's active brain maintenance. During deep sleep, the brain clears toxins, consolidates memories, and strengthens neural connections. Neuroscientists call this neurogenesis, literally the growth of new brain cells. Without sleep, focus crumbles, mistakes multiply, mood collapses. With sleep, everything improves. That's why elite athletes, CEOs, and creatives all guard their sleep as fiercely as any meeting. Ethan protects his routine. No caffeine after 2 p.m., dim lights an hour before bed, no scrolling in bed. His bedroom is optimized for rest. Blackout curtains, cool temperature around 65 to 68 degrees, electronic devices outside. Practice daily gratitude. Before bed, Ethan picks up his journal once more. He writes down 3 things he's grateful for. Some days it's big wins, like signing a client. Other days it's small, good weather, a funny conversation, or his morning coffee. Gratitude might seem unrelated to productivity, but research shows it lowers stress, improves mood, and rewires the brain to focus on positives. A mind trained to notice opportunities instead of problems has more resilience and more creative capacity. This practice has changed how Ethan processes his day. Instead of ending with stress about unfinished tasks, he ends with appreciation for what went well. The 3-item limit forces him to really consider what mattered most. Continuous learning every day. At 7:30 p.m., instead of scrolling social media, Ethan reads. Sometimes it's a history book, other times a psychology podcast, or even a random Wikipedia rabbit hole. This isn't about cramming knowledge. It's about keeping the brain flexible. Neuroscience shows curiosity activates the same reward systems as food or money, and it improves memory retention. Learning daily sharpens problem solving, fuels creativity, and builds adaptability. Ethan treats this as sharpening the saw. Instead of pushing harder with the same tools, he upgrades them. His learning is deliberately diverse. Psychology might inspire user behavior insights. History might inform strategic thinking. For Ethan, productivity isn't just about working harder today. It's about becoming better every day. These habits compound over time, creating not just more productive days, but a more intentional, fulfilling life.